it's me, Emerson, back with another video, and today we have a paint with me at the coffee shop. I recorded most of this out at a Starbucks, and it was a lot of fun. I love painting in public so much. It was a vanilla sweet cream cold brew, and it was the first time I've had that, and it was really sweet, but I liked it. So just to get that out of the way, now you know it was a vanilla sweet cream cold brew. So I started out by sketching, and the first one was sort of just a warm-up. Fun fact, some kids were watching me, just for a couple minutes though, so that's good. They left pretty soon, but then I went on to sketch out what I might want to paint that day, and then pretty quickly it clicked and I moved on to the paper block. So today I'm painting on a 6x8 block. It's the only 6x8 block that I have, and the rest of them are kind of bigger, so that's why I picked it, but it's hot press, which I'm not nearly as familiar with. This is the only hot press I've actually ever worked with, and it's kind of weird, so this doesn't really sum up what my process is usually like, and the style ends up being a lot different than I usually paint with, but I enjoyed it anyway, and I had a lot of fun, and I think that the style turned out nice. So I'm painting all of it from my little palette that I made. It's in like a little tea tin, and the tin itself is so cute, so I was really happy that I was able to make it into a palette. I covered the inside with enamel spray, so it's a really nice mixing surface, honestly. It's kind of nicer than like my plastic palettes. I don't know, I really enjoy it. So the colors in there, some of them are watercolor and some of them are gouache, and I have just the essentials, and it ended up being really, really perfect. I think this is pretty much the first time I've painted with it. I've done like really small stuff with it before, but it was wonderful. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend making yourself one of these. The colors were, I believe I had phthalo blue in watercolor, I had quinacridone rose in watercolor, and I had nickel quinacridone gold in watercolor, and then for the gouache I had white, yellow, primary yellow by Holbein, and then pyrrole red and ultramarine and magenta. Yes, that's all of them. And so for this piece, you'll see the character is sort of dematerializing into the environment, but it was more centered around the hair, which for me is more of like an identity center and sort of a sense of identity being dissolved and becoming something else. And that was really how I was feeling. I wanted to do this piece after some experiences that I had that ended up being pretty interesting for me, and so I was just having a lot of feelings. My cat in the background again. Oh my god, he has to come when I'm over here doing this. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna keep going. So I was having a lot of feelings, and so I wanted to go out to the coffee shop to do this because I love painting in public so much, because you can focus so much, and very occasionally someone will come talk to you and it's like wonderful and lovely, and then the rest of the time you can really just zone in. I was listening to Mitski for some of it and Lana Del Rey for the other half of it, and it was a great time. 10 out of 10. I wasn't able to finish the entire thing while I was there, so the last few clips are at my own home. They're not as good quality, but they are there, and I enjoy the footage that I made. So yeah. By this point in the piece, we're starting to go over everything for a second time and add in some of the leaves, which I did. If you look at my palette, you can see it's all the skin tones there, and I didn't want to get rid of those, so I had asked for a water cup that I was using for my paint water, which, by the way, there was ice in it, so next time I'll ask for no ice, because it was so weird painting with ice water. Mostly just the first time I dipped into it, because it really felt like something you should be drinking. But so they also gave me a little lid on there, so I mixed the greens on that lid so that I didn't have to get rid of my colors. And then and I ended up doing just straight ultramarine for the hair, so that I didn't have to continually remix a new color for it, and it was pretty close to the color that I imagined anyway, so it worked out nicely. I did a lot of layers on this because I don't know how this paper compares to other hot press papers, but it is so slippery. I know the Fluid 100 cold press paper is also really smooth, so I wouldn't be surprised to find out that other papers are not this slippery. I have to do like a bunch of layers to get like a regular sort of coverage, and then everything like reconstitutes really easily. I don't know, it's weird, but I was also excited to capture the dry shift, so that's one thing. But yeah, so that's the end of the clips where I was out in public, and then we went home, and I'm so sorry about the shadows. I feel like they're, in my opinion, not that bad, but once I got home I decided to re-go over all of the purples, which I would have liked to do sooner in the process, but I didn't know that I was going to, kind of, I guess. And yeah, I went back over them when I got home, and I didn't do much else after I was home, but I think I just like cleaned up everything mostly. And right here I decided to do a little bit off camera just so that I could really focus and get in there and like see what I was doing really well, because I wanted to just clean up some of those edges. And now we're adding in the yellow halos, and the yellow is a little bit of a mess, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll like go in and sort of like scrub things out to like clear the way a little bit before I add in another layer, and that would have been a good idea here, but it ended up turning out pretty much fine. And after this I add a little bit of colored pencil. I don't do that a whole lot, but I've been doing it a little bit more lately, and colored pencil is honestly so much fun, just like the feeling of it. I end up not doing much that you can see super well. I add a little bit of colored pencil to the background, and then I sort of add some outlines to the leaves, which I could have done with gouache, but the thing is it was so thick on there already. If it were cold pressed paper, a lot of things would have gone a lot differently, but if it were cold pressed paper, it probably would have been easier to do that. But this just gets the layers up so thick. And yeah, so we're adding in some more leaves in real time, and I wanted to do a little bit of a bluer color, but I'm happy with the color that they ended up with anyway. And you can see, I feel like the dry shift was the strongest with the leaves. It's honestly so interesting, like how much it changes and how much you kind of just guess what the color is going to be, but it's honestly really fun when you like think it's going to turn out a certain way and then you're right. And I feel like I'm getting a lot more of a handle on the way that the colors are going to change, but still a lot of the time I don't know. So I just try to keep my my mixes the same and not clear them out so that I can revisit them and have them be the same as they were on the paper earlier. And I remember this part, adding the stars, was so much fun. Like, I don't know why it felt so nice, but it made me want to paint a lot more night skies, and I'm actually going to be doing that in a piece that I'm doing now, and it's going to be like a really big acrylic piece, and I'm very, very excited for it. So here we are removing from the block. This one in particular is glued on two sides, and the glue on this is really nice. It's nice and strong, and so yeah, I recommend the Fluid 100 blocks a lot, by the way. And then we are just going to be adding on that colored pencil I was talking about. So now here we have the finished piece. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun creating it, and let me know if you enjoyed it by leaving a like, comment if you have anything to say, and subscribe if you want to see more. And thank you so much again for joining me. I will see you soon. Bye bye.